Well, Jerry, I have to say that we picked one of the strangest years to make our debut in the baseball business.
Oh, and it was probably the most difficult year in the history of baseball. But what a fabulous start we've made towards bringing a winner to this great city of Chicago.
I think we're on target with our commitment to make the White Sox the outstanding organization in baseball for the 1980s. And we're trying to build an excitement here that is worthy of Chicago sports fans.
And speaking of excitement, how about that opening day game at Comiskey Park in 1981?
How could anyone forget that day? A record opening day crowd of over 51,000 fans were there, and I'm sure twice as many wish they were. And on that day, Chicago's new hero, Carlton Fisk, hit a grand slam to beat Milwaukee. Fisk loved it, the team loved it, we sure loved it, but best of all, what a great day for Chicago fans.
And you know the best thing about it, Eddie?
I know, it was only the beginning.
Only the beginning. Oh, now just a start. Yeah. I got to get you in my life, mama. Got to get you next to me. Yeah. Only the beginning. Oh, now just a start.
The story of the 1981 Chicago White Sox. It's only the beginning. When the White Sox brought their equipment south for spring training '81, they didn't take preparations for the upcoming season lying down. But questions remain. Did off-season juggling successfully strengthen a team which had been in the running for much of 1980? A team which showed promising signs, mainly from a colorful young pitching staff with solid starters and resilient relievers. Expecting the White Sox to be contenders in '81 wasn't stretching things at all, especially with the addition of 3 veteran free agents who were just as glad to be in Chicago as Chicago was glad to have them. Joining Ron LaFleur was catcher Carlton Fisk, who went shopping in the offseason and picked up a pair of White Sox instead of red ones. And Greg Luzinski, who traded life in the championship ring for a chance to be the grand bull in another.
Great pitching staff. They had trouble scoring runs last year, but they went out and signed some free agents and Ron LaFleur and a guy like Fisk. And with the addition of myself, I think we're going to turn the thing around.
The talent seemed to be there for the turnaround, so the White Sox hierarchy had high hopes for the new season.
As anyone will tell you, and as just a fan of a team would tell you, you won't be happy until you're #1, until you're wearing that World Series ring.
Makes me a little scared, I tell you, because I've always been one that worries a lot about how a team looks on paper, and you have these great expectations, and then you got where it counts between the white lines, and you don't transfer the paper to the field. We do have a better chance, and we do have talent, pitching, also player-wise now, but it's not going to mean a thing unless between the white lines we can go out and beat somebody.
And as spring training came to a close, the new-look White Sox were ready to put on the show for their fans, both at home and on the road, where on opening day, Carlton Fisk returned to Boston. Fenway fans still considered Fisk one of their own, but Carlton gave his loyal followers a quick case of the blues when his 3-run homer in the 8th carried his new Sox to a 5-3 win over his old ones. Hollywood would have loved the script that now had him standing in the aisles in Chicago, especially when Greg Luzinski continued the White Sox theatrics at home. Luzinski homered in his first extended run at Comiskey Park and was still upstaged by Fisk, whose encore performance beat Boston again. The Sox were off to a fast start, and their Rolling Thunder review continued. Thanks to first-nighter Tony Bernazard, who had 4 hits and drove in the winning run the first time they turned on the lights at Comiskey. 2 days later, the Sox ran the Orioles right out of town and closed their show in Chicago with a crushing doubleheader sweep of the Birds. The scores were 18-5 and 5-3, and in the premiere, the Sox had 26 hits, their most since 1955. The newcomers were making their presence felt, and Bill Allman was no different. Allman shed his understudy role, and his hot bat solidified his job as the Sox starting shortstop. Second baseman Bernazard followed Allman in the order and finished his first performance in Chicago with a flourish. After 2 weeks, the reviews were outstanding. 7 wins in their first 10 games showed the fans that the new Sox were clearly making it. After making it at home, the Sox took their show on the road to Detroit, where the curtain calls continued. For the first time since 1964, the Sox swept 3 games in Tiger Town. The Sox were hot. Unfortunately, Oakland was too. And as mid-May rolled around, the A's led Chicago by 5 games. That is, until Luzinski had his best day ever in a White Sox uniform. The Bulls' 2-homer, 5 RBI matinee seemed to spur Chicago on. 2 days later, Harold Baines picked up Luzinski's cue. And when the Sox' 3rd leading hitter of the year was through, Chicago had their 4th win in their last 5 games. And when it was time to leave the Great White North for the mellow spring evenings of Southern California, the White Sox had their eyes on first place. Three wins in Anaheim and 2 in Oakland brought the traveling roadshow back to Chicago, where Gold Glove winner Mike Squires showed the home folk why he was on his way to hitting .312 in the first half of the season. Chicagoans raved about the White Sox '81 production, especially Luzinski's run production. Led by the Bull, Chicago moved in the first against California, then fell back, but stayed close to the top when Fisk beat the Angels in the 10th. As the White Sox premier performer during the season's first half, Fisk was doing a whole lot more than getting clutch base hits. Led by Britt Burns, the Sox young staff was maturing quickly. Burns had a 6-2 start, and he'll tell you that Fisk had a great deal to do with that.
He's a very sensitive type of guy. He really studies his pitchers and their habits and their way of thinking and their line of reasoning and, you know, whatever might be going on in their minds out on the field. And he and I have you know, off the field, on the bus or on the plane or, you know, in a restaurant somewhere, we'd sit and talk about, you know, I'd ask him about me. I said, hey, you know, Carlton, what do you see? And he'll give me some pointers, tell me a few things, and he'll point out what my strengths are and what I do best, and I've learned to be much more effective that way. You know, he's helped the ball club in more ways than really you can tell.
And when you're making a list of Fisk's attributes, make sure to include his defense. and his value to the team as someone to look up to.
I think that with the young players that can learn from the older players and the older players that can absorb some of the younger enthusiasm on this club, we have a good future to look forward to. And I think that with a little more experience, a little more seasoning, we're going to be a definite contender.
With Richard Dotson leading the way, the White Sox were contenders in the first half of '81. The 22-year-old Dotson had 7 wins, and that led a youthful group of arms that included 26-year-old Lamar Hoyt, who had 4 wins to go along with 7 saves. And 24-year-old Steve Trout, whose 2.73 ERA led the starters. And when the season came to an early halt in June, Chicago's Kitty Corps had the second-best ERA in the league. The White Sox were getting the pitching, the hitting, and, of course, the fans. And why not? There's a lot to do at Comiskey Park.
End of the spring, and here she comes back. High, 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 high there. Them summer days, oh summer days. That's when I had most of my fun back. High, 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 high there. Them summer days, oh summer days. I quiet night when I want to. Out of school, yeah. County fair in the country sun, and everything's true. Oh yeah. Hot fun in the summertime. Hot fun in the summertime. Hot fun in the summertime.
Yep, the White Sox fans sure had a great time at the ballpark. So great, in fact, that some just keep coming back and back and back.
Oh, I love those White Sox.
I come out here because I'm a White Sox fan for many years.
I'm enjoying the game. I like the hoopla.
Well, I like to come as often as I can, yeah.
Well, I've had these seats since 1949.
Love the White Sox. Love the White Sox.
As far as I'm concerned, I'd like to single out the Chicago White Sox fans and basically let them know that the players appreciate this kind of support and involvement.
It's a real thrill to hear them yell and scream and get on the other team like they do.
Well, I think Chicago fans are probably the most enthusiastic fans in baseball.
There's no doubt that Chicago has the best fans.
With the fans here in Comiskey Park, it's a cheerful group that seems to me, comparing to Philadelphia, that like to come out here and have a good time, a singing type crowd that really has fun when they see good baseball being played.
Did someone say singing? Well, you haven't heard singing till you've seen Nancy and the gang at Comiskey Park. No fan is embarrassed, no fan is immune, no fan is self-conscious, no fan's in tune. But the Bulls hit a homer. It's another Sox win. So come on, everybody, let the singing begin. Unfortunately for the Comiskey Park Singers, those particular lyrics took an added meaning when on June 12th, the Sox and baseball took their first summer vacation, and the timing couldn't have been worse for Chicago. Although they'd lost one less game than the first-place A's, the Sox finished in third because they played 7 fewer times. Chicagoans claim foul, but the split season seemed fair enough to the Lords of Baseball, and on August 9th, baseball returned with a bang with the 52nd All-Star Classic. Obviously, the fans were glad to be back in Cleveland, and so were 2 White Sox players. Carlton Fisk was selected to the All-Star team for the 7th time.
Yes.
While for Britt Burns, the appearance was only his first, but one thing both had in common was a desire to play ball again, and so did the rest of the White Sox. Most felt that the split season was unfair, but it was a reality, and Chicago started season number 2 just like season number 1. 10 wins in their first 16 games, thanks to the inspired play of Tony Bernazard, who wound up the season hitting .276, nearly 40 points better than his career average. Bernazard comprised one half of the Sox infield surprise. The other was shortstop Bill Allman, whose .301 average was the second best on the team. Allman came to the Sox as an unheralded free agent, quite unlike Ron LeFleur. In 1981, LeFleur added speed to the rest of Chicago's offensive weapons and at times showed that the best way to travel home was on your own. The Sox free agents paid huge dividends in '81, and Greg Luzinski might have been Chicago's best buy. Luzinski had a team-high 21 homers and 62 RBIs and was named the American League's most valuable designated hitter. Luzinski's bat won more than a few games for Chicago, and so did the valuable left arm of Britt Burns, 10 to be exact, with a team-high 108 strikeouts. Around the league, Burns' potential is considered limitless, and he's capable of accomplishing the ultimate in pitching at any time, something that Dennis Lamp almost knows all about. On August 25th, Lamp flirted with a no-hitter until the 9th, but had to settle for the second one-hitter of his career in a 5-1 win over Milwaukee. Ironically, Lamp's masterpiece signaled an end to the Sox second season success. From that point on, Chicago lost 15 of their next 20 games and fell from first place to 5th. All at once, nothing went right for the Sox. And before they knew what had hit them, Chicago was out of the race. In 3 short weeks, the White Sox had gone from contenders to pretenders, and it wasn't too hard to figure out why.
We started out the second half playing it probably as good as anybody. Although maybe sometimes we didn't play the purest baseball, we still managed to overcome it. I'm talking about that road trip. We came back 9-6, won the first game of the homestand against the Yankees to go 10-6. And from that point on, for about 2.5, 3 weeks, we didn't play very well. And it was a total loss in the sense that we all were responsible. I could have managed better, pitching could have been better, hitting could have been better, defense could have been better. So I think it's something that it's a learning experience for our club. We got a lot of guys who I think are going to be part of a competitive situation for a long time. And the lessons we learned this year about how to keep a good streak going, I think will help us in the future.
As baseball's only lawyer manager, La Russa learns lessons well, and he also gets time to practice his courtroom argument.
There ain't no good guy, there ain't no bad guy. There's only you and me, and we just disagree. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, oh, oh. I'm going back to a place that's far away. How about you? Have you got a place to stay? Why should I care when I'm just trying to get along? We were friends, but now it's the end of our
Obviously, lawyers and judges don't always see eye to eye, but one thing all the White Sox agree upon is their future.
I'm a part of this organization because I can see that this organization is one that's up and coming and possibly could be a dynasty.
I think the White Sox, being down so long the last few years, we're hungry, and now all of a sudden we see great opportunities for ourselves, and I think that's going to make a difference.
I think everything in our franchise is going in the right direction. I think the foundation is definitely here. I really think we've gotten close to the hump there. All we got to do is just do a few more things correctly, and we should be a competitive, a contending team for years to come.
And Jerry Koosman is bound to help. Koosman came to the Sox at the tail end of the season and immediately provided left-handed help in the bullpen. In '82, La Russa expects Koosman to contribute his share of relief on the mound, while the offseason trade for Tom Paciorek should provide even more punch at the plate. Paciorek comes to Chicago following his finest season ever, in which he finished second in the American League in hitting. The Sox are shooting for the top, and the addition of Steve Kemp just might take them there. Kemp was acquired from the Tigers in a trade of American League All-Stars when the Sox sent Chet Lemon to Detroit. Kemp gives the White Sox added left-handed power, and he should have no trouble feeling right at home in the Sox outfield. Yes, the pieces are beginning to come together, and it seems obvious that the Sox won't stop until the puzzle is complete. Chicago fans love their Sox, and the White Sox love their fans. And nothing would please either group more than winning together. So that's the theme for next season. The Sox and you in '82. The year when fantasy becomes reality.
Take a ride in the sky on a ship, fantasize. All your dreams will come true right away. And we will live together until the 12th of never. Our voices will ring forever as one. And we sing victory in a let go fantasy. Loving life for you and me. To be home to your soul is ecstasy. You will find other kind that has been in search of you. Many lives has brought you to recognize it's your life now in review. As you stay for the play, fantasy has in store for you. Glowing light will see you through. It's your day, shiny day, all your dreams come true. Come to see victory in a let go fantasy. Loving life for you and me. To be home to your soul is ecstasy. You will find of a kind that has been in search of you. Many lives has brought you to recognize it's your life now.